Good morning. Hi, it's Anna Walker with Anna Walker Designs and StabThingsIntoExistence.com. Today we're talking dryer balls. So, you can now buy dryer balls at places like Bed Bath & Beyond and Walmart, and I've looked at them. They're, a little smaller than the ones that I make myself, but I have no idea where the fiber came from and what the process was of creating them. So it's so easy to make dryer balls at home by yourself, and you just need a few supplies. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to flip the camera down. Really, really easy to do. And I kind of like my dryer balls better than the ones you can buy, only because I put a little bit of weight in the center of the dryer ball, and I think that helps them work better to help you fluff your clothing and towels and sheets. When you're putting them in the dryer, they bounce around as the laundry is drying, and they help absorb some excess moisture, but they also help with that pounding to soften and to open up the fibers and to bring the fibers up, open up the nap, if you will, on the fibers of your clothing so that it looks fresh and so that it looks soft and is soft. You can also use it in place of using dryer sheets or softener, although some people use it in addition to the dryer sheets and softener. So we're going to get started. I'm going to turn the camera down and we're going to make some dryer balls. Okay, I'm not sure why I'm so dark right now. I want to see if I can, oh, there we go, that's much better. Okay, so apparently I had hit a button that I didn't know I had hit. So all we need is an assortment of undyed fibers. You can use dyed fibers, but you'll want to make sure that all of the dye has been exhausted from your fibers, or you might transfer some of that dye to your laundry. So I prefer using undyed fiber. You can also use little bits of things that you've cut off from other projects. This is what I use for my core. I also have used little scraps of felted wool fabric because I do use wool fabric as a base for some of the projects that I make, and you can use that as the center and then just sort of wrap the fiber around. So we're going to make a couple more dryer balls. Now, I like making them really large snowball size, the kind that you'd really love to hurl at somebody during a snowball fight. They're going to take up your entire palm. They're not very heavy at all, but these are going to continue to shrink down, felt down in the washing machine when you throw them in there. We start out with a wrapping and needle felting to sort of baste everything into place, and then, whoops, there we go. Then we're going to shove them into old hose and tie them off tight, and then we're going to throw that into the washing machine and the dryer and let the felting magic happen. So I've got two. The reason we're working on dryer balls, I'm killing two birds with one stone. My aunt is missing her dryer balls because my cousin was recently there, and the one thing about dryer balls is that they can sort of hide in your laundry. It's amazing how well they can get into sleeves of shirts or the legs of pants. And I can tell you that when my sons have come over to do some laundry at my house, that I've lost a couple of dryer balls myself. So I just cut up the scraps that I'm using as the base to sort of be the center of this, and I'm pulling out one of these circles that's partially felted, and I'm going to use this as the core of my dryer ball. And I'm just sort of using those pieces that are partially felted, sort of encapsulate this. And now I've got this piece of wool here, and I'm just going to wrap it and roll it and get it into as spherical a shape as possible as I'm putting the dryer ball core together. And I'm going to do this in a couple of stages because I want to have a little bit of a cohesive look on the outside, so I'm trying to use the same fiber on the outside edge. I'm just using the needle tool to sort of baste these fibers into place so that they'll sort of hold together while I add the additional fiber to finish this off. Now, this is a decent size. You could certainly use this size for your dryer ball, but I like to really plump them up because as you use the dryer balls, and they will last for several months. I've got some that I've even had for a couple of years. You can use them for a long time, but as you use them, they are going to continue to shrink and felt down as you use them because of all the agitation that happens in the dryer. So now I'm going to take this outer fiber that I've used on the other two. Anyway, as I was saying, we're making these today because my aunt needs some new dryer balls, and Mom had given them to all of her sisters. She had ordered them for me for all of her sisters as a Christmas gift a couple of years ago. And my Aunt Karen is missing some dryer balls, so I got to get these finished up and sent out to her because I told her I'd send her some happy mail. And what wouldn't make you more happy than getting dryer balls in the mail? That was a joke. That was ironic, sarcastic, facetious, any of those words. So you can see I'm just randomly stabbing. This is not a project where you need to work a grid pattern at all. It's just a matter of making sure that you've got the fibers all nicely compacted together. And I just like when I'm making dryer balls to keep them all roughly the same size. And this one needs just a tiny bit more fiber. So I'm going to give it another little round. And I'm just trying to be as even as possible when it comes to the size of the dryer balls that I send out to somebody. Now, like I said, you know, this is something, if you don't want to do this yourself, you can certainly purchase them. But again, without knowing where they source the fiber, how they put the dryer balls together, you don't know if any processes, you know, might have had something in it that you don't want in it, whether it be chemicals or the soap that they use to felt it down, because it does take, you know, soap and water in the washing machine to get these felted down. And so it's an easy enough project that I just prefer to make them myself. And it allows me to use up any scrap fiber that I might have. And even if you have some dyed scrap fiber, you can still use that dyed scrap fiber in the core. I would just make sure that you're using undyed fiber for the outside of it. All right, so we've got 3, let's make a 4th. And again, I'm just taking, this is a felted piece that I cut around to get the right size, and now I'm just cutting smaller pieces so that it'll be a little more balanced in the center. This is not a step that you would have to do. You could certainly take and just roll up with these pieces as they are. But for me, I think that it makes for a more balanced felted dryer ball to have it cut into smaller pieces. It certainly makes it a little easier to round it out than what it would if you've got these longer shapes that are more bulky. So I just prefer to cut them up into smaller shapes, and I think that that not only gives you a more rounded core, but it also allows those fibers that you're surrounding it with to connect with that a little bit better. So again, I have a piece that's just been partially felted, and I'm just going to use that to sort of wrap around the little bits here. And I just get it, you know, just in a nice little wad here. And then I'm going to take some of my undyed fiber. And this is where you can use pieces that are left over. This is where you can use pieces that didn't work the way you wanted to, and so you've got, you know, maybe some less desirable fibers around. Maybe they're too coarse for what you wanted to do, or they didn't behave in the way that you were hoping they would. And this is a good way to use up all of those leftover bits of fiber that you might have and create something that can actually help you out around the house. I'm just looking for some more fiber here. We're just going to encapsulate this all the way around, and then I'll needle felt to sort of hold these into place. And again, you know, just getting a rounded shape and just stabbing in assorted places to hold those fibers in place so that we can get that rounded dryer ball shape that we're looking for. There's no rhyme or reason, no need to do a grid pattern like I would recommend if we were doing a needle felting project on a sculpture or on a painting. That's when you want to be a little bit more deliberate about where you're stabbing. But for the dryer balls, we're just trying to get these fibers to sort of hold in place. And yeah, it looks like an angry face there, or a wrinkled up, maybe it's a dried up apple that's been waiting around way too long. All right, so I only have a smaller piece of this last fiber that I'm going to use to wrap around. So I'm looking for a little bit larger piece. I think this will work. Oh, there we go. This is a nicer fiber, and I could certainly save it for something else, but I need to build up some bulk, and this is going to do the trick. And so I'm just spreading it out and then just wrapping around, and then just coming in with the needle on the loose ends and on the edges where we're overlapping just a little bit, just to round this out. Let me pull this up a little tighter. There we go. And again, we're just stabbing these into place to hold it so that we'll be able to shove this dryer ball into the leg of the hose and then throw it in the washer and dryer. And you can see, I mean, I did those two dryer balls that we started out with. I did those in the 6-7 minutes before I went live, and now we've done 2 more in less than 10 minutes. And so it's a really quick project. This is the easy part of the project. And then just throw them in with laundry that you're doing. All right, and now just this final little bit so that they all match in the same fiber. I'm going to draft this out so I can get it all the way around. Try and hold it a little tight so that you're compacting this a little bit. Remember, if we're doing a needle felted sculpture, one of the first things I'll tell you is to try and get all of the air out of there. Otherwise, you're going to be working extra hard to get that extra air out of there and felt the fibers at the same time. When it comes to the dryer ball, we don't need to be as precise, but the more you hold the fiber tightly as you're wrapping it around, the easier it's going to go into the stocking, and the faster it's going to felt down in the washer. And so there we have number 4 dryer ball, all of them done in less than 30 minutes, and they're ready for the washing machine. So the next part of the process is taking our dryer balls and shoving them into a leg of an old pair of hose. And I just cut these off of an old pair of pantyhose. This is not the time of year when I wear hose, and I try not to wear hose unless I absolutely have to. Whoa, dryer ball. And so I'm just opening up the hose all the way to the very end so that I can take one of the dryer balls, pull it in really tight. And this is where having that extra air out helps out. And so I'm trying to get this down as far as possible, and then I'm going to take and just tie an overhand knot right here where it connects, holding it still as tightly as I can. And if you're good at tying balloons, you're going to be great at getting dryer balls into stockings. So there's one. Now we do the same thing. We can put all 4 of them in this same leg. And I got fiber going everywhere. So again, let's push another dryer ball in there. Pull it nice and tight. do an overhand knot. And hold that knot really close, and we've got 2. And now it's time for a 3rd. It's going to look a little like a garlic braid when you're done. It's just the image that came to mind right now. And here's our 3rd dryer ball, shoving it all the way down. The tighter we put it in the hose, the more compact the dryer ball is going to be. And another overhand knot. And pulling it nice and tight. And then our final dryer ball. And another overhand knot. Okay, and we have our dryer balls ready to go into the washing machine. Almost looks like Wilma's necklace on Flintstones. Anyway, I'm going to flip the camera up. So what we do next is we just throw this into the washing machine with a load of towels, a load of sheets. Throw it in with something that's bulky, okay? Jeans, sheets, towels, anything like that. And then once it's out of the washer, throw it into the dryer with that same load. And when you get done, your dryer balls are going to be felted. They're going to be ready to take out of the hose. You'll just take and you'll cut the hose right at the knot, and then you'll have to peel off that hose because the fibers are going to felt a little bit through the stocking, but it is possible to peel it off, and then you've got your dryer balls ready to just leave in the dryer for the next time that you do your laundry and help you out with that laundry, getting it nice and soft and fluffy and getting it nice and dry. These are a wonderful tool for being able to extend the life of your clothing because it's taking the excess moisture out of there, it's keeping it nice and fluffy, it's just getting everything just so beautifully soft. And you can see what I mean about the Wilma necklace. Anyway, that is what we've got for today. I will be back tomorrow. If you want more information about felting stuff, head on over to stabthingsintoexistence.com, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.